So I'm about to leave to head to Miami. It's like 980 miles or something like that. And I'm just sitting here kind of just thinking like it's crazy being here at this point because I didn't know if we would get anything like this again. So yeah, I'm excited for the weekend. Of course, I'm a little nervous, but that's more for me than anything else. But this is Operation Rebirth. The story of MetaZoo over the last year has been a roller coaster of emotions. From the ceasing operations letter we received in January of 2024, the selling of original art, to the bankruptcy that was officially initiated later in May, it just felt like the MetaZoo community we had built had fractured because the company had started to fall apart. It was later that year the community found out that MetaZoo had been bought by Charlie Herlocker and a group of investors, and they formed a new company called MetaZoo. Another company, GameCubator, was brought in to help advertise and develop the future MetaZoo game. We were told at the time that a lot of MetaZoo was going to change. The gameplay, the cards, and probably even the story. That of course split the remaining MetaZoo community. I'll admit, if it wasn't for the conversations that I had had with Charlie, I would have been more on the fence with the majority of everybody else in the community. We had been burnt so bad by Mike Waddell and the old MetaZoo administration that it was hard to trust anything anyone said in regards to MetaZoo. The new company had a lot of roadblocks they were going to have to overcome if they were going to be able to not just win back the old community, but also flourish, make this company what it could have been. Now I know you're asking yourself, 2 minutes into this video, I thought this was supposed to be a recap of the Collecticon in Miami, Fort Lauderdale. What is he doing talking about the history of MetaZoo, telling us everything that happened over the last year? Well, to understand the significance of Miami Collecticon, you have to have some sort of understanding of what the community, what the company had gone through for the last year. Because if you don't, then you don't fully grasp how important and how monumental Miami was. There will be other conventions and there will be other releases, but the reason why Miami was so special is it was the launch event for the new base set of MetaZoo. This was the culmination of months of work that Charlie and his team had put together in order to revamp gameplay, revamp the cards themselves, the foils, the actual number of hits in a box, the booster boxes themselves, everything. And this was the moment that the vast majority of the public was going to be able to see it for the first time. MetaZoo had reached out to see if I wanted to be a part of the launch event, and of course I said yes. I wanted to be there the first time the new company actually was at a convention, to see the reactions people had, to talk about the new product, to see the actual booth itself. Because with it being in Miami, that's pretty far away from where I live. I drove and it took me about 14 and a half hours just to get there. But once I got there, I realized how special this moment was. Because again, a year prior, we didn't think that MetaZoo would be at a con. We didn't think we were going to get new cards. And here I was, standing at a Collecticon, staring at the MetaZoo booth. My job this weekend was to talk to people as they came up to the booth, explain what MetaZoo was, man the prize wheel, and just be an advocate to show people how amazing this franchise really is. So after putting on an OG red MetaZoo polo, I got to work. The booth location was fantastic. As soon as you entered the actual convention, you saw the MetaZoo booth right off to your left. And they didn't have the big inflatable that we've seen before in years past, but the light booth they had set up showcasing Sun Wukong caught your attention as soon as you walked through the door. Manning the prize wheel, I feel like I got to talk to everyone that interacted with the booth for the most part. You had a ton of old community casters coming in to support the new MetaZoo, but then you had 5 times as many new people who had never even heard of MetaZoo. One of the most amazing things to me was that there was a father and son who had come from Canada down to Miami, one of the furthest points south in the United States, in order to support new MetaZoo. It was small things like that that really just filled my heart with joy. I remember looking around at one point, the first day of the convention, and realizing that everyone there at the booth, whether they were from MetaZoo, GQL, or the artists themselves, everyone was having fun. Everyone was engaging everyone that came to the booth. You could tell that these people had the same type of passion that I try to bring to my videos, that I try to bring to the MetaZoo community, that these people cared about what they were talking about. They weren't just giving you a promo and then sending you on your way. They were taking the time to answer any questions anybody actually would have. They were taking the time to grow that investment into this franchise, spark that little bit of curiosity or that little bit of wonder that MetaZoo brought to the original community a couple years ago. And it was amazing to watch hundreds of people falling in love with this franchise, with these cryptids, realizing that one of their favorite creatures since they grew up with was a representation in this new card game. And it almost leaves me speechless just to see how much joy a small booth at Collecticon could bring people. Later that day, we actually gave away 4 alternate art boxes, the Poncho booster boxes, and the entire experience was ridiculously crazy. Ben MetaZoo, one of the guys that was actually ranked near number 1, if not number 1, back when Retro Zoo was a thing, was actually the first person to spin the wheel in order to try to win one of these alt boxes. Because the way it worked is we took a pie piece out of the wheel and put an alternate box one inside to where you had to spin it and it had to land on that. Well, Ben spun the wheel, first spin of the giveaway, and won the box. It was honestly surreal. We had 3 other boxes that we were going to give away that day, though, so we continued the giveaway. And another old MetaZoo community member won the next one, Zales TCG. And not only did he win the box, he immediately there on camera opened it up and showed off the promos. We had someone else win the 3rd one. My favorite win, though, of that day was this little girl. She had to have been maybe 7 or 8 years old. And her excitement when she won this box was incredible. And MetaZoo actually made a short you can check out on their Instagram or on YouTube. And you can see the excitement that she actually has in her eyes. And how much she's just overcome when she wins that box. And to be completely honest, at the end of the day, that's what MetaZoo is about. It's a perfect example of the MetaZoo community. Because yes, some people were bummed that they didn't win the box themselves, but every single person that was around the booth, that was part of that line, that was part of that giveaway, lost their mind when this little girl won this booster box. We all came together in support of this person who honestly probably didn't know that much about MetaZoo, if anything, and had just won one of the most prized possessions of the new base set. But we came together in celebration of this little girl, and to me, it honestly was magical. A little while later, the first day came to an end, and I left to go get some much needed rest in preparation for the second day. The second day was just as magical as the first, I'll bet a little bit busier. I was able to run around and get some footage of the rest of the convention, along with having an opportunity to sit down and talk with Lily and Jet, who I hadn't really had that much time with the day before. They were super busy with all sorts of signatures because the promos for the convention were actually done by them. I really liked the way that MetaZoo actually gave out the promo cards also. You could win them on the wheel, yes, but if you didn't win them on the wheel, you had other ways of being able to obtain them. The Sheep Squatch promo card, all you had to do was take a picture of yourself at the booth. You could use one of the photo frames that they actually had, a picture of a card, and post it on social media, and they would give you the Sheep Squatch card. To be able to get the Miami exclusive card, all you had to do was buy something actually at the booth. You didn't have to spend an exorbitant amount of money in order to get this promo. And like I said, it was pretty awesome because both promos were made by Jet and by Lily. And so anytime anybody actually got one of the promos, especially from me, I would immediately send them over to them in order to actually get it signed. At one point during the day, the head of conventions, Susan, she actually came up to me and was like, "Hey, I need you to talk to this person and explain what MetaZoo is." And so I remember I went over, we went behind the booth where the big MetaZoo logo was, and I started talking to this gentleman about MetaZoo. And I realized that it was David Lodge, who is notorious. He's a very big voice actor for Naruto. He's also Kenpachi from Bleach, which is one of my favorite animes. And I didn't realize this at first until after we had actually talked, and I kind of geeked out a little bit there towards the end. I'm really, really excited though, because I get the opportunity to teach David how to play MetaZoo in Houston coming up in a few days. And I can't wait. And it was so amazing for Susan to give me that opportunity to actually meet him. We gave away 4 alternate art boxes, just like we did the first day. And I'm going to play the clips for you right now.
Oh, you're kind of not right. Yeah. Thank you.
That's super sick.
All right, just spin it up.
Yes, sir. Has to go around at least once.
Hey, Rusty.
Come on, baby. Let's see what we're gonna get.
I love the determination. You're manifesting it.
He was giving up my time.
We got it.
One up like that.
Ooh, that's going to be close. That might be it. Hey, first person spun yesterday won. Yeah. So anything's possible. Ooh, I don't know. That has some good speed. Thank you so much. After the giveaway, the last few hours of the convention flew by. I had so many people coming up to me asking me what I thought of the new product, of the new team, the convention, the booth. And the only word that kept coming to mind was authenticity. The entire experience at the convention was authentic. That's the only word I can use. Because everyone there was not just there to sell you a product. They weren't there just to give you something and send you on your way. They were there to engage with you. They were there to answer any sort of questions you actually had. I never once saw anybody at the booth start a conversation with somebody and then end it. They would always try to point them to the prize wheel, or point them to the artist over there signing stuff, or to the learn to play table. There was so much engagement from the team. It was crazy. As someone who went to the majority of events and conventions that MetaZoo went to in 2023, in my opinion, that was something that wasn't really there towards the end of RetroZoo. The authenticity, it felt like they were in it more for clout or for money. And with this convention in Miami, with this being the launch of the new base set, that wasn't a theme, I felt. I mean, yes, of course, they were trying to sell product. Of course, they were trying to get people interested in MetaZoo. But it was to give them that joy that they themselves had for MetaZoo. Because, again, going back to the beginning of the video, every single person there that was working the booth, regardless of where they came or what their title was excited to be there. They were ecstatic to introduce this to new people, to get more people involved in the community. It was an authentic experience, and you could feel the passion every one of us had in regards to MetaZoo and its future. I would encourage everyone, whether you're an OG caster from back in the day or somebody who's just now learning about MetaZoo for the first time, to get involved. Check out the game, check out the cards, read some of the lore stories that are on the website, join the Discord, talk to community members. This is the time right now to get involved with MetaZoo. The leadership of MetaZoo and GQL not only have the drive and the knowledge to make MetaZoo the behemoth I've always known it could be, but they have the passion. It was shown to me that weekend. Magic is real, and the Collecticon in Miami showed me that real magic is everywhere.